Dear church, no matter what you think about his politics aside, I think Jimmy Carter was one of the finest presidents and maybe better ex-presidents that we've ever had in our nation's history. He's 96 years old. He was the 39th president of the United States. He still, as he is able, supports his church, helps with Sunday school teaching, and is a great cause and promoter for Habitat for Humanity. I think Jimmy Carter lives out his faith. He once said this: "I have one life and one chance to make it count for something. My faith demands that I do whatever I can, wherever I am, whenever I can, for as long as I can, with whatever I have, to try to make a difference." Do you remember Godspell? If you do, join in. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Come on, sing with me. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Back a number of years ago, when I was in seminary at Mundelein, right down the street, there was an older priest who was on staff who kind of really stayed to himself. I didn't get to know him as one of the underclassmen. And he just always appeared like old and grumpy and kind of crabby, kind of sat off by himself, never sat with us seminarians at lunch or dinner. But then I got to have him in class. And he taught chant and vocals class. And I got to see a whole different side of Father Wojciech. He was a composer. He was a singer. He directed not only the seminary's choir, but the archdiocesan choir for kind of big church-wide events and all that. A brilliant mind, beautiful man, but I got only to see that side of him once I finally had him in class and got to have that one-on-one interaction with him. He instilled a love for singing in me that I know I didn't have. And he kind of was that encouragement, that support that I needed to have in that time of life. And I remember as I finished my time in seminary, we had kind of to do this chants and vocal practical exam where it was just he and I in the classroom, and I had to kind of chant the entire Mass through. I'm sure Pastor Lynn had to do this back in the 1800s when she was in seminary. But I had to chant this entire thing one-on-one with him. And I did it, and I was nervous, and he offered some critiques and all that and feedback after I finished, and I got ready to leave the classroom. And as I did, I said, "Father Wojciech, do you have any advice for me as I'm getting ready to go out?" Now, at that point, Father Wojciech was about 85 years old. He had been ordained for some almost 60 years. And he said, "Jim, just go sing. Just go pray. And let the people teach you how to pastor and minister to them." And then he kind of kept shuffling out. And then he turned around and said, "Never, ever, ever wear brown." And then he walked out. And I thought, what the heck does that mean? Never wear brown? Is this guy losing his mind? I mean, we kind of thought he was losing his mind. But was he being silly? I mean, he kind of knew I had went to Mount Carmel High School for high school, and the colors of the caravan are brown and white. So I thought, is he making a joke about that? What was he really getting at? Quite frankly, I kind of let it go in one ear and right out the other. But I got to tell you, as my life unfolded as a Catholic priest, and now as a Lutheran pastor, as a spouse, husband, as a dad, as a friend, I've come to understand what that older teacher was getting at. Father Wojciech was insisting that brown was like a wishy-washy color, a drab color. He was kind of telling me, if you're going to be a minister, if you're going to be a pastor, if you're going to be a shepherd for God, be a bold one. Be a brave one. Open people's eyes. Challenge their minds. Wake up their souls. Comfort their hearts. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. I have one life, One chance to make it count for something. My faith demands that I do whatever I can, wherever I am, whenever I can, for as long as I can, with whatever I have, to try to make a difference, dear church. Strikes me as we kind of journey through this Advent last Sunday and now today, we hear about this character, this figure of John the Baptist. And the one thing that strikes out for me from today's gospel text from John, that our John proclaimed for us, our own local John proclaimed for us, is this. John says he's not the Messiah. No, I'm not Elijah the prophet. I'm not the Messiah. I'm not that one. John the Baptist is comfortable in his own skin. He's comfortable in his role, where God has placed him, those gifts, those talents. I'm not the Messiah. He says no. He has zero interest in making it about himself. He's there to bear witness. Dear church, it is so refreshing to me to see someone say, hey, I'm not number one. I'm not it. I'm not the Messiah. And then follow up with a series of no responses to all the other questions about what a great figure he might be. Who was he instead? Well, he tells us, I'm exactly what God called me to be, the voice of the one crying out in the wilderness, someone destined to prepare the way for another. I am here to point others to Jesus. And that's enough. That's it. He's good in his own skin with that. He's okay with being number two. I think every time we respond to God's call to be ourselves and not be who the culture or the church or others or the world or our social media friends want us to be, I think we can discover that we are enough. You are enough, dear church. I am enough, dear church. Pastor Lynn is enough. We are enough, dear church. We don't have to pretend to be something else. And maybe, just maybe, that old priest, Father Wojak, and maybe, just maybe, John the Baptist shared a wisdom. In being bold, in being yourself, you find peace and you find joy, your true calling. Sometimes us pastors fall into this trap of needing to be this type of special persona for everyone and trying to please everyone. And at some point, we lose identity of ourselves. We become fake. And this can happen for all of us in our marriages, in our friendships, with social media. We take on things that aren't really who we are, but we think we need to be so that others can like us in that sense. Maybe God is saying to us this day, dear church, be bold because I've made you bold. Be okay with who you are. I've made you that way. We don't have to be wishy-washy. We don't have to pretend to be something we're not. We're not the Messiah. I'm not the Messiah. You're not the Messiah. I'm just some dude like John the Baptist trying to believe what God called me to do. John was comfortable in his own skin. I mean, he ate locusts and grasshoppers, did all these things, wore camel shirts. He called people to repentance. He called them broods of vipers. May seem strange to us, but he knew his peace and his joy. Dear church, as we continue our Advent journey on this Gaudete, this Rejoice, Joy Sunday, maybe the invitation is that simple. Never, ever, ever wear brown, dear church. Don't be wishy-washy. Be the bold you God intended you to be. And in that boldness, you'll find your peace and your joy. God accepts you for who you are. Chiefs fan, Dolphins fan, Seminole, wherever we are, whoever we are, be who you are. So, Messiah, I say this to you today. Live in your bold colors. Speak the bold colors of the gospel, compassion and justice, equality and acceptance for all, what we heard Chris read for us from Isaiah. Forgiveness always. Don't be wishy-washy. Don't be timid. Don't be afraid to speak out. Reach out to the poor and forgotten. the suffering, and the struggling. Respect the hopes and dreams of every person. Be a bold Christian. Be bold. Be a brave disciple. Open people's minds. Challenge their minds. Wake up their souls. Comfort their hearts. And in doing so, I think that's where you'll find your peace and your joy. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Come on, sing it with me. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Remember those words. No, I'm not the Messiah. We have one life and one chance to make it count for something, dear church. Our faith demands that we do whatever we can, wherever we are, whenever we can, for as long as we can, with whatever we have, to try and make a difference. Be bold. Be you. Happy Advent, dear church.